Welcome back to The Matrix, an ongoing collection of hyperfixating on strange lore tidbits by somebody who hates hyperfixating on strange lore tidbits. No, I don't know how we got here either. Whilst I haven't found anything today that will change everything you know forever, I do have 3 revelations today more on the casual end of the scale. Behold, Doctor, what I have found will slightly uncomfort you forever. Fact number 1, the Paternoster gang. Everybody's favourite wacky sidecast. What's not to like? Lesbian lizard swordsmaster, a cockney sub, and a silly Sontaran. 3 characters that become more exaggerated and less endearing in every encounter. Hey, I wonder if they have a Big Finish box set. Why even pretend? Of course they have a Big Finish box set. 4 of them, in fact. But how could you not make 4 box sets about these unique characters? Well, it seems that a Silurian and a domesticated Sontaran aren't all that uncommon in Victorian London. Let me introduce you to Ston the Sontaran. Another battle potato living just across the street from Strax. What are the chances? Ston was the leader of the Bloomsbury Bunch, who were another alien triad operating in 1892 London, miraculously also consisting of a human, a Silurian, and a Sontaran. What are the chances? And then it goes deeper even still, because of course it does. 2 of these 3 are in a homosexual relationship. Place your bets. Now it's these 2. Yes, I am sorry to share that 2 Sontarans are living in the Victorian era, and one of them has settled down with a human man. This is distressing. The lizard lady from the Dawn of Time, hey, that's one thing, but these guys, that's a step up. Apparently, Ston too rejected the usual Sontaran ethic and instead devoted his life to capitalism. Well, yeah, obviously. Man, of all the characters to give a spin-off to, you couldn't give one to the gay, married, Victorian capitalist renegade Sontaran. The injustice. And Strax? Oh, Strax isn't happy about this literal clone popping up across the way. But of course, as we all know from episode 1 of the Paternoster gang, Strax is a staunch Marxist.
You must throw off your shackles and seize the means of production. No! We are not slaves! We are cockneys! Yeah! So, are you ready to strike?
Yes!
Yes! Strike! 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 Strike!
Hey, it's okay. It's okay to just take a moment. I just unloaded a lot of crazy stuff on you. Like, I wasn't even going to mention the 10-part Strax comic, The Adventures of Strax and the Time Shark, in which Strax has casual access to time travel, captures a weeping angel, and makes King Arthur a table, also he can save a cat from a tree. So, yeah, don't worry about that. God, I wonder what the casual fans think the audios and the comics are like. Like, how do you explain this kind of zaniness is back to back? How do you make peace with that? That the Doctor saved Jenny from being molested by the Magnus Greel cult, or that Strax has actually battled the Sontarans, or that the 9th Doctor lied to Lizard Lady and told her she was the last of her species. Oh, hey, I'm burning ideas here, I know, but I just feel like the Paternoster gang are a Pandora's box that I shouldn't have opened. I guess that's what happens when your starting point are these guys. Hey, they're forced and they're not for me, but I love Moffat's insistence that Who is an outrageously silly show. Fact number 2. Let's talk about Susan. Susan! Not a very alien name. This is because, like the Doctor, it's a total pseudonym. I know Time Lord names can be weird, but I certainly didn't expect Susan's real name to be Archetior. Archetior. Like, come on, that's a bit sci-fi for even Doctor Who. With its Barusas and its Romana ad Velotrandars, the highly contentious book Lungbarrow tells us that Susan's father was called, get this, Pandad the 7th. Which is only the 7th funniest thing in that book. Lord President Pandad. Daddy Pandad. There's no pattern to it. No wonder she took the name Susan. But interestingly, there's 2 different sources that tell us that Archetia is the Gallifreyan word for rose, which makes this relationship even more questionable. Hey, I'd understand Clara or Charlie or Sarah as motive from gravitating towards other companions, and seeing her in other people was a genuinely sweet reason I believe the Doctor takes companions.
Shut up.
But Rose? It's dubious, and apparently just unfortunate, as, get this, the short story Roses was published all the way back in Doctor Who magazine in 1994. I didn't even exist, and certainly neither did Rose Tyler. So, was this a coincidence? Did Rusty Davis really like this story, or was it lurking in his brain? I don't know, but I do know Roses. It's a great little piece of writing. Roses has the first Doctor potter around a garden while Stephen post-Dalek Masterplan waits for him to finish reminiscing. It's here that he gets nabbed by the Barusa Triangle. The Triangle of Rassilon. An experience that changes his face and then dunks him down in the Five Doctors, where who does he meet? But Architio. Sorry, I mean Rose. It's a cute little prequel, and the old Brian Hudd illustrations of Doctor Who magazine are gorgeous, but it certainly raises questions of coincidence. But hang on, 3 also said, when he hooked up with Jackie Tyler last video, that he's never known a Rose. Contradictions! Heresy! And the last fact I will leave with you today, well, less a fact and more an exploration. Here is every known explanation for the Valeyard. 2000s Doctor Who fans just couldn't handle it. They could not handle having a mystery waved in front of their face and having no proper set-in-stone answer for it. The Valeyard is a nightmare for canon-focused fans, and many different writers have tried foolishly to plug that gap and explain the Valeyard. Okay, let's get started. The Valeyard was a sinister and mysterious Time Lord with an unknown origin who was revealed to be a late form of the Doctor. The Master describes him as an amalgamation of the Doctor's darker sides from between his 12th and final incarnations. That doesn't mean anything. Even the introduction and explanation of this character by Pip and Jane Baker was very, very vague. An amalgamation. Does that mean someone sucked all the Malcolm Tucker out of the 12th Doctor and the bad-tempered monologues against Ryan from the 13th Doctor and just made a man? Just made a man? No, the Valeyard was apparently, on one account, created. The Valeyard began as a voice inside the Doctor's head waiting to bubble to the surface, which encouraged him to indulge in his darker instincts. This is kind of a cannon plaster for why the 6th Doctor killed Androgum, or shot the Cyber Controller in cold blood. In the book Millennial Rights, the 6th Doctor manifested magical powers that, when used, briefly turned him into the Valeyard. Yeah, no subtlety. You start using the magical voodoo powers, you become Michael Jaston. Apparently what created the Valeyard was the Doctor's own fears of becoming the Valeyard. I like this explanation, but it is nonsense. The Doctor also being tempted to the dark side to access your new Time Lord powers is also pitiful. According to the audio Every Dark Thought, the Valeyard is inevitable. He can't be averted, only postponed. Which is interesting, as the responsibility of handling the Valeyard in the revival actually fell to Stephen Moffat, and he postponed it.
Doctor lives his life in darker hues, day upon day, and he will have other names before the end. Storm, the Beast, the Valeyard.
Woo! That's the thing I know. One of my first Big Finish stories, the one that got me back into Classic Who, was Trial of the Valeyard. I guess my 18-year-old self just wanted answers after all these years. And my god, did this audio threaten to give them. This audio is entirely about the Valeyard's origins. But sorry guys, because Nick Briggs decided that the Valeyard is now the Joker, and is now the unreliable narrator of his own origin story. Well, this narrator tells a tale, as the Valeyard says he was created as a time tot on a mud planet during a period where the 13th incarnation of the Doctor was experimenting with ways to break the 12 regeneration limit imposed by Rassilon. At the young age of 20, the Valeyard was found wandering the mud swamps of the planet by a group of scavengers, and once they found out he was a Time Lord, they sent him to Gallifrey. This backstory has a grain of truth to it because it's backed up by a couple different mediums. But it is also obviously outdated, as the 13th Doctor presented to us in this audio is a small Yoda-like man. So either a lot happens between series 12 and the end of Jodie's tenure, or this isn't actually the Doctor. And it's not an old story or something. No, this was released a year after Time of the Doctor. Like, we were on Doctor 12. You didn't have to go that audacious. But then there's another audio, also made by Big Finish, which claims that the Valeyard was made by the Time Lords using Black Ops technology, meaning they created a Doctor clone as a weapon, who then really got into the field of lore, I guess. Bernie Summerfield claimed that the Valeyard was a splinter of the Doctor that escaped from his final regeneration. In fact, the exact words she uses is that he's a twisted little fragment that just fell off the back of a lorry, which I think speaks for the general fan consensus these days. Whovians don't like big mysteries if we're not going to get the answers. But then I can't imagine a world that would ever have the Valeyard on television. I guess if anyone were to do it, it would be Chibnall. A whole story arc, maybe, for explaining a minor canonical discrepancy. The sheer fan frustration that surrounds the Valeyard is palpable. Then there's the Forgotten. Oh boy, a high contender for the worst piece of Doctor Who media ever released. How do I... No, just have the picture. Just here's the picture of the Doctor battling the Metacrisis Tenant, now combined with the Master. The Forgotten isn't bad because it tries to plug up a mystery with the most laughable excuse. No, it's terrible because it's just a collection of tepid references replacing actual story. Escartris of the Tactire assumed the form of the Metacrisis Doctor to steal the 10th Doctor's memories from within the TARDIS matrix. Escartris suggested to the Doctor that he was in fact the Valeyard. You're not me, I mean him. I left him on Bad Wolf Bay. He's not been long gone enough, and I'd mean we'd never have such a crap beard. Maybe the you that was sent across with Rose came back through time and calls himself the Valeyard. Jesus wept. But if this is a false account and a fake Valeyard, it's not the only one. Because like everyone else, everyone gets a war version. The War Valeyard. It's a whole other dude.
I am known as the Valeyard. Now, it is almost time for your final destruction.
In this, spoilers for the Time War box set, Volume 3, the War Valeyard is a product of the 8th Doctor passing through a transmat with a genetic modifier, which copies his clothes but randomly creates the Valeyard. Huh? Man, I'm tired. As if Big Finish haven't given us enough confusing contradictory Valeyard material. Now we've got a good Valeyard who acts like the Doctor. Put him to rest. If we had to validate all the future maybe Doctors, then we would never hear the end of it. It would never end. When there are so many explanations, it's very hard to take any one of them seriously. And that's us done for another one. I'm very, very stressed now. How long can I keep going on? How long will this series last? These are the questions.